Hey guys, Nightfox here, and welcome back to another one of my Fall 2016 anime first impressions. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about March Comes In Like a Lion. So this show is done by Shaft, which are most known for shows such as Madoka Magica, as well as the movies, and probably most notably the whole Monogatari series, also as well as the movies that are getting done. So let's get into the story before I tell you what my thoughts about this show so far. Alright, so the plot's kind of, or the story I guess, is kind of pretty simple for this show at least. Our main character, Rei Kiriyama, is a high school student, but he's a professional shogi player, so that's pretty much his main occupation. He still has to go to school, I think, sometimes, but not when he would have scheduled games and such. So that's pretty much most of the story because this show has been very much slice of life. So it's kind of just like that's the main story, and then we're just kind of following him throughout his day-to-day life as he moves on, meets people, meets like goes and visits friends, continues his professional shogi career, just kind of things like that. So there's not really like a big overarching plot that I can tell at least so far because it's very much in that slice of life realm. So let me give you a couple of my thoughts about the show so far. Alright, so one thing I will say that was really interesting to me is I'm getting like really strong Yurlai and April vibes from the main character. If you've seen that show, maybe you feel the same way as I do. Um, from the main character from Yurlai and April, I'm getting like really similar vibes because both characters are like very skilled at their particular craft, but they are kind of like isolated in a way, and so I don't know. I just when I was watching, I just kept getting these like weird vibes. Like this is like really You're in April ish. So maybe if you enjoyed that show, maybe check this out and see if you feel the same way as I do. One thing I would say that's interesting about the show is the art style. It's a very interesting art style. I haven't really seen it done this way before. I want to say it's kind of unrefined. I don't know if that's really the correct way to say it, but I think it works really well with the show. But yeah, it's just like it's really hard to put into words, but it's very unrefined. You see a lot of the like strokes in the characters' designs, but I don't think it's a bad part of the show. It's just an interesting and a new art direction that I haven't really seen used before. Now, with that said, I will say the one thing that kind of irks me is the mouths of these characters. It just bugs me. Whenever they have their mouths closed, they still like do this big outline, so it seems like they have these big lips, and it's not a huge deal. It just when I see it, it just kind of bugs me a little bit. But that's a very small uh, problem I have with the show. So some other things about this show, I really enjoy the humor in this show. There's a lot more humor than I thought there would be. There's a lot of comedic beats. One particular one that I find funny that they've done a couple times is one of his friends, a family that he's friends with. They have two cats, and they actually most of the time you hear the cat's thoughts. So I think that's a really funny touch where you can like hear what the cats are thinking and what they're saying. So that's just an example of the comedic beats they have, and they're really well timed. Uh, so far, I'm really loving all of the characters. I love Ray. I love the family he's friends with, which is Akari and her two younger sisters. They're fantastic. The youngest sister is so adorable. They're all just such great characters. Even his rival, which you meet kind of pretty early in the show, I will say at first I wasn't really sold on him. I thought he might be that annoying character that kind of shows up and, messes with Ray, but he's really good. He's really growing on me. I'm really enjoying him more and more as a character. Another thing that I'm really enjoying about this show is when Ray's like going to a professional shogi match or to visit Akari and her sisters. We get a lot of alone time with Ray of him just like walking through the city, getting somewhere on the train or whatever, or just sitting in his apartment even. And we get a lot of inner monologues of him just like kind of tossing ideas around in his mind and him kind of like thinking through it and coming up with his own conclusions and ideas and stuff. And I'm really, really enjoying that about the show because even though it's just like a bunch of dialogue and it's inner monologue, I love seeing how the character thinks because it gives you a much stronger base of this character because you get more of his inner thoughts, how he thinks through things, what he thinks about things, and just like how he deals with situations in his life and what he's thinking about most of the time and like what his priorities are and stuff. So I think them having these inner monologues that we get to listen to quite frequently is a really amazing part of this show and really helps flesh out Rei as just a more complete character. In regards to the shogi games, obviously he's a professional shogi player, so there's going to be shogi in the show. Although it's not really a huge part of the show, it's much more slice of life and just kind of day-to-day stuff than shogi. But when there is shogi, I think it's done so well. You might. It's not necessary if you know how the game works, because, like I said, there's isn't really a whole lot of shogi. But if you do know the rules, it'll just be kind of a cool thing that you'd have a better understanding when they have these shogi sequences. I will say though, when shogi is being played, I think the directing of the game is very well done. Just the way they move the camera shots like around the board and the different perspectives they take and how they just play it around and how they show the players playing each other and their reactions and stuff. I think the directing during the shogi scenes is very well done and it's not boring. It doesn't really take away from the show at all. Even though it's not the main focus of the show, I still think it's a very strong point of the show. So I'm really enjoying this show so far. I think it's knocking out of the park in the slice of life section, and it's as strong in other sections as well. So if you want to see where it ranks and compared to the other shows I'm watching this season, feel free to check out my weekly power ranking videos, which will be going up every Sunday. If you agreed or disagreed with anything I said in this video, feel free to leave a comment in the section down below. I will be releasing a few more first impression videos rounding out all the shows I'm watching this season, so if you want to be notified when those come out, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you want to check out any of my previous first impression videos, I'll leave a link for that playlist in the description down below. And until then, I'll see you guys next time.